Nature Boy has not said one thing, made one statement, uttered one statement or phrase that I have not heard before from other teachers and speakers. Nor has he said that which I've heard before in the way of which I have not heard it before. And that doesn't make what he's saying lacks value, because it's very valuable, because he's saying it to some people who may not have heard it before, and saying it to some people in a way of which they haven't heard it before, from who they haven't heard it before from, that can impact them and cause them to shift, to have a paradigm shift in their life and become more awakened. So I'm not taking away from his profound impact as a teacher. I'm just speaking for myself, that he's never said nothing that I have not heard in a way of which I have not heard it. The only difference for me is that he's someone else saying it. So I'm not saying that he's more significant. He may be more significant to you than Jesus Christ because of what he's teaching. A lot of people have been teaching that, been saying that, been espousing these ideas. I'm saying because of what he's doing and being can make him more significant to you than Jesus Christ. Why? Let me go in on that. Because he is the message. He is the embodiment of the message of transformation, redemption, and if we go back to the Torah, of even Exodus. So you got a little bit of a spirit of Moses in there for you Christians, for you Hebrew Israelites, for y'all who still goes by as the book, and you're low-key Christians, and that's why you attacking him, because you're low-key hypocritical Christians. That's why you attacking Nature Boy. But let me not get derailed or digress here. He is the embodiment of redemption. You got someone who was a gay porn star. You got someone who was in a very destitute situation in the bowels of the matrix. You have someone who is a ex-convict, an ex-felon. You got someone who is as far in the matrix in Babylon as you can get when you look at Nature Boy. You got someone who can be associated with your most repulsive and disgusting ideas that you have about the matrix. You have someone who was at the lowest of the low for what they can gain, for what they can get, to validate themselves materially, to fit in to society. He did what he felt like was necessary based on his level of consciousness, which was very, very low frequency, which was at a very low vibration. Someone that was completely in the lowest part of their lower self, unconscious, lost, and physically objectified as a black man by the matrix and exploited and taken advantage of and used as a product, as a tool by those who would exploit someone in such a mental state. You have someone like that to wake up at some point in their life and get on a journey to expanding their consciousness and coming into the knowledge of who they are and what it is all about. And he got on his quest and began to study and awaken his mind, looking for a way out, looking for some redemption from the level that he fell to. looking for redemption, looking for hope, looking for salvation, looking for answers, trying to fill the void and the emptiness. And guess what? Through all of his studies and research and meditations and contemplations, he found this in nature. And he evolved from Elijah Bishop, the one of whom you all condemn, the one of whom you all hate, the reflection that is within you all self that you despise, Elijah Bishop. Just a bishop in the white man's chess game. Not a pawn because he had a little bit of material, a little bit of wealth, a little bit of status. Just a bishop. Not reaching king status yet. You all hate Elijah Bishop because he represents everything that is negative that is in you. All the sin, everything that you hate about the matrix in Babylon that you refuse to make an exodus out of. And I want to talk about exodus, but I'll save that for the end of this video. He represents everything that you hate in yourself and in the matrix. That's Elijah Bishop. And he woke up to the realization of nature, and he became Nature Boy. He found his redemption from the fall of man in nature. Nature spoke to him and called him nature. The neta, the neteru, called forth his spirit into a state of awakening, and he found his redemption in nature and his transformation. He began to transform himself from Elijah Bishop to Nature Boy. There's a lot of Elijah Bishops walking out here right now as we speak. They're worse than, they're at even a lower level of how you perceive Elijah Bishop. They're murderers. They're dope dealers. They're rapists. They're serial killers. There are those who are womanizers, who don't give a fuck about nobody. As you talk right now, as we speak right now. There's Elijah Bishops walking around right now. There's some Elijah Bishops that are in a state of Elijah Bishop that hate on Nature Boy. Hypocrites. But Nature Boy redeemed Elijah Bishop. Nature redeemed Elijah Bishop and transformed him from a bishop to master in chief of the earth plane to a king. So Elijah Bishop's transformation to Nature Boy embodies your redemption. Not only is he a redeemer, because some of your redeemers woke up, was born enlightened. Some of your redeemers, just this information was just like oxygen to them, that they breathed it every day. Some of your redeemers never walked the walk that you had to walk from. They didn't walk down that journey. So not only is Nature Boy a redeemer because he's reaching out to you and sharing his journey of transformation from Elijah Bishop to Nature Boy, he's also an embodiment of your redemption and your transformation, and he also represents Moses as because he has made an exodus from the negative reality, from the parasitic, exploitive, capitalistic, selfish reality to evolve into a being that recognizes everyone as himself, who has become essentially selfless, from selfishness to selflessness, to realizing everyone is him and waking up everybody to that we are all reflections of one another, so we should have more love and compassion for each other and evolve as higher spiritual beings. He represents the transformation, the redemption, and the exodus. He is the embodiment of your redemption. And if he cannot be redeemed, then stop teaching. Get off YouTube. If no one can be redeemed, get off YouTube. If no one could be transformed, get off. Why are you teaching them? Because it's the moment that they transform and become conscious and get on their journey to transformation, you're going to bring up their past to prove that they cannot be a reformed entity, that they cannot transform and enlighten and be born anew, that they cannot be reborn. That they cannot be resurrected in Christ consciousness? Is that what you're saying? Then stop teaching, because that means no one could be redeemed. Their redemption is it's just an illusion. That redemption isn't real. Every time you attack Nature Boy for being Elijah Bishop, you attack the idea of redemption itself, that a person can change and that a person can be transformed. And if a person cannot change and cannot be transformed, then why are you on the path of consciousness to wake up people? If you already woke up, then you can only be on the path because you want to wake others up. But if you're attacking Nature Boy for being Elijah Bishop, you're saying that you cannot be redeemed, that you can never wake up, that you can never change, that you cannot be transformed, that you can only be defined by your past. What if we opened up the chapters in your book of your life and defined you by your past? We couldn't even look at the person that we see today. Because many of you all will sleep. Swine eaters. Many of you all was asleep in the matrix, and then you woke up and you found transformation and you found redemption, and hopefully you made an exodus. An exodus could look different for many people. For some, an exodus is leaving the neighborhood, leaving the space of where their lower self dwelled. For some, exodus could be leaving a relationship. Exodus could be quitting a job. For Nature Boy, exodus was leaving America, leaving the United States, leaving Babylon. He made an exodus from his lower self as he transformed into his higher self. So you have redemption, transformation, and exodus all embodied into one entity. He is the embodiment of your redemption. All this information you're putting out. You're trying to awaken people with your channel. Wake them to what? To somebody who you can bring up their past once they get on a journey of being conscious? Even though he has not reached the unreachable point of consciousness, he's on a journey. He's made an exodus from the old lifestyle, the old patterns, the old algorithm, the old parasitic reality. And he's on a journey, and he's taken many people on his journey to transformation into being Nature Boy. And inspired many to take upon that journey to become more conscious, to become more awake, and to self-realize. He's taken many people with him. He's pulling a lot of people out of the old paradigm and bring them into a new paradigm of a new consciousness, of a new reality. To attack Nature Boy and use his past to try to define him is to say redemption is not real. That transformation is impossible. And that the matrix is inescapable. So what are you being conscious for? Where does it lead? If it doesn't lead to human transformation, and if there's no example of human transformation, where are you going with it? What does being conscious mean? Conscious is a journey that never ends. But the first step is when you step out of being the old you and step into being the new you. Step outside of the old decisions you made and start making new decisions. Step outside of the old box that you live in and step into a new box. That's when it begins, but the journey never ends. And while his teachings may change and may transform and he may grow as an individual and expand his consciousness, he's on the right journey and on the right path. This is a fact. And leading people in their own journey for their self-realization, to come into the knowledge of themselves, love themselves better, find alternatives to the hellishness that's in Babylon. Nature Boy just did not come so that at some point you could believe that you would be saved like your Jesus Christ, so that you could believe that you would be free. He came as the embodiment of your redemption, that he is the transformation of you. And when you look at Nature Boy and you say, I love myself, you're basically saying you love your transformation into something greater.